Welcome to the Lean Out Your Business podcast, a show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs accelerate business growth and simplify success. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and I've been working with businesses for more than 2 decades to help them lean out and optimize what's working while eliminating anything that's not adding value. So if you are ready to get more time back in your day, more profit in your business, and to do business differently, growing and scaling on your terms, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. Today, I am really excited for our guest who I had the pleasure of meeting and spending a few days with out in Austin, Texas. And it was really great to get to know her and her incredible work. So I'm super excited to dive in and share a lot about personal branding and how you can really leverage LinkedIn to expand your influence. So let me tell you a little bit about her, and then we are going to dive into all of the good stuff. So with me today is Rachel B. Lee, and she is a fearless marketing and branding strategist who supports entrepreneurs, business owners, and C-level executives to create strong personal brands, build their influence, and grow opportunities through the power of LinkedIn. She and her husband are the founders of Standout Authority, where they help you find your voice and become a thought leader with massive influence. Rachel, welcome. It's so nice to see you again and to chat with you today.
Oh, it's so great to see you, Krista. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right. So I want to kind of dive into some of the basics, right? Everyone wants to expand their influence. Everyone wants to get better results in their business. But I'm sure there are some things that maybe people aren't thinking of or that are truly foundational to be able to do that. So what do you think are some of the key things that people should be focused on or focusing on first when they want to expand their influence?
Well, the first thing I think that everyone forgets to focus on is their brand. And my background, just so people know, Krista, is actually pure marketing lady boss status, brand marketing. I worked at an agency. I worked with big CPG brands like Axe, with Unilever's Axe, and then I got my MBA, and then I've been doing B2B. So I was at Microsoft and then Gartner and doing really big scale marketing and branding to help think about how a business brand can not just get transactions, but builds an emotional connection with consumers so that they develop brand loyalty, right? Because that's ultimately what we want. It's one thing to be an influencer and maybe you get paid here and there. It's another thing to have brand loyalists who not just want to give you money, they really are going to advocate on your behalf. And to me, that starts with the brand. And since a lot of, I think your audience are small business owners and entrepreneurs, our brand for our business and our personal brand a lot of times are meshed together, right? So I'm the co-owner and CMO of Standout Authority. We're a small business. We're less than 10 people. And I'm very much the voice of Standout Authority. And I'm also the person that's working with the clients, right? I'm marketing our business as well as doing the work. And so when we're thinking about, what are our goals? What are we trying to use marketing for? First place to start is at that brand level and asking yourself, what do I do? How do I do it? And then most importantly, why? Because people want to work with you, Krista, not just because you're really good at leaning out and all the things that you do, operational processes. They really like you. They appreciate how you work, your specific knowledge. And so the more that we can find a way to understand exactly our unique gift to this world and express that coherently, consistently, on a place like LinkedIn or wherever platform, you will not just draw in awareness, you'll pull people through so that you get purchase conversion, and most importantly, advocates.
Yeah, so good. And I think the thing that I find so often, and I'm curious if you find this too when you start working with different brands and businesses, is people are on a platform or using a channel or doing certain actions because it's what they think they have to do. But they're looking at it more checklist style, like, well, I need to post 3 times this week, or I should create this type of content and this type of content and this type of content. But they're going through and thinking about it more mechanically, like, well, I should be putting out 3 posts this week. So what could I talk about this week? And it's more tactical instead of strategic in thinking about, what am I trying to say? How am I building this brand? What's the right thing that's going to lead to the result that I want, which is usually a conversion of some kind, even if it's a free type of conversion. And I think people make it a little harder for themselves because they're not really thinking about it from that true strategic and brand lens. Do you find that as well? Or what do you typically see, or some of the mistakes maybe you see when you start working with clients?
100%. 100%. I mean, our audience is across every platform. And then we also have our standout authority community and people that we've trained and have taken our courses. And it's always surprising, but not surprising to me, Krista, that as much as we train and keep saying, you need to focus on the message first. You need to understand what your value proposition is. So, what we teach is first, how do you establish that value proposition? What's your brand? Then, what is the message you're trying to convey? And what is your content strategy? So, we have our folks and our clients, we choose 3 themes that are related to the brand that they always produce content around. And that really sets the foundation for a great content strategy and brand strategy. Because then, instead of, oh shit, it's Monday and I need to post 3 times a week, what's happening? You're saying, oh, well, I always am talking about branding and marketing. I always talk about my career journey, lifestyle content, right? And I'm always talking about content. I'm always talking about content strategy, being a creator. Like, these are kind of my themes that I talk about. So I have buckets. I always turn to that, and it helps with planning. And so often I see people struggling, right? Because people will come to us with the tactical thing. I'm not getting engagement on my posts. I'm not getting engagement. I feel like I'm throwing darts, and I'm like, well, did you do the branding exercise that we talked about? Did you go through? Do you have your pillars? No, I don't have any of that together. Okay, well, you have to go back to that foundation, and nobody wants to do that work because we have become so attached to this thing, our mobile phone, and we are on mobile and our computer all day, scrolling, and feeling the dopamine. The dopamine hits. My husband is the dopamine dealer. Okay, that's his branding. We're feeling that all the time, that I got to get something out. I got to get something out. I got to do a reel. And it's like, it's actually not true. It's not true. Quality content is queen. Content is king, but quality content is king. The more work that you do in that upfront will set yourself up so much better for not just great quality content, but content that converts and engages and builds those advocates. And that's what we do. That's what we do at Standout Authority with our clients and with our own brands.
Yeah, I mean, it's critical. It's not about the number of times you post or any of that. It really is ultimately, what's the goal? What are you trying to get? And do you want conversions? Do you want engagement? Do you want all of those things? You want to build genuine connections with people. And I think that you're approaching it from such a smart and strategic way. And I'm happy that you offer that service for your clients, because I do see so many people who just are like running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Like, I don't know what to do, and I'm supposed to post, and should I do this and should I do that? And it's like, those are the wrong questions. Like, sure, those things might help you. Those new techniques or strategies or features might be good, but unless it fits within the overarching strategy, it might not make sense to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the reason we're really good, really amazing at what we do, the reason why we can say we're standout authority and we work with people that are high powered across every, like most industries, is because we're marketers. Josh is a 20 plus year, veteran entrepreneur. He started his career by doing advertising, the first online ads on places like MySpace. And then I have worked for some of the biggest brands in the entire world. So we really know marketing, and we're taking that and then applying that to an individual. And I think that's what's so interesting, Krista, about the age that we're in right now. We're in the human era. You know, what Josh and I like to say is there's no B2B, there's no B2C, there's only H to H, human to human. Because you buy from another human at the end of the day. Like, even if you're selling into a business, there's multiple humans, right? that you're working with. And when we think about, how do we get my message out there? And I'm going to be honest, Krista, there might be people out there that just post because I know that there's a lot of those a lot of TikTokers and people that are just like, I just wanted to post. Like, I was just getting out this emotion. And then it's like, holy crap, like now I have millions of followers. They didn't realize that I went viral. Okay. That is small percentage of people, small percentage. Okay. Maybe 1%, like literally the amount of creators in the creator economy, about 50 million. And most of them are making less than $40,000 a year on their creations. Let's just like level set here, right? On what's happening. So I think, okay, then if you're just like me and you and the rest of us who are running businesses, and like, I don't need to post on social just to post on social. I post, yes, to express my voice, but I have intention to educate people and to get clients, to get more speaking opportunities, to support the work I do at University of Texas, Austin. Right? I have goals. There are goals and actions. So the more crisp we are with that, the more our content will work harder for us, and you're going to feel really good about the time you're putting into it because it takes effort. It really does. Being a content creator, not just on LinkedIn, like our primary focus is great content for LinkedIn. If I wanted to create great content for Instagram as well, I wouldn't. I have to hire somebody, right? And I already have help on my content. Like, I have to hire somebody to help me create a bunch of freaking reels and get them viral. Same thing with TikTok. Like, so just, I think we all have to really think about that, and then also choose wisely which platform, specifically for thinking about social media marketing and organic marketing, what platform is your audience on and what's going to be the most effective to drive the goals and outcomes you're wanting.
Yeah, it's so true. And I know you obviously put a lot of focus on LinkedIn, and I am starting to shift my focus more to LinkedIn as well, which is not something I've historically used. But I'm just curious, like, why do you think that LinkedIn in particular is such a powerful tool, and especially a powerful tool for business owners?
Yeah. Well, listen, there's 850 plus million people on LinkedIn. So nearly a billion people. Okay. So I don't even know why we still have this conversation, right? I know why, because that's why I'm here to talk to you about it today, because there's a lot of misunderstood um, about LinkedIn. And there's a lot of people on this platform. And it's not just people that are our moms and dads, like Facebook, right? Like, that are just cruising and they just want to get entertained, or TikTok, they want to get lost in the feed for hours and hours, like our Gen Zers or whoever. LinkedIn people are on there less amount of time, but they're there to do business. This is a business professional platform. So if you want to connect with other business owners and other businesses, this is the only sure platform you have for that. That's it. This is it. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is, did you know that LinkedIn was acquired by Microsoft in 2017?
I think I knew that. I'm not sure.
Most people don't.
Hmm.
For $26 billion. That was one of the largest acquisitions that Microsoft did. And I was around when that acquisition came through, and I was like, this is so huge. So, LinkedIn is a tech company. It's backed by the largest tech company out there, Microsoft. And it's not just about social media. Like, in fact, LinkedIn just really in the last few years has started to focus. That's why we've seen so much work on the feed and reactions and hashtags and being able to go LinkedIn Live and different features to attract people like you and me because we're so used to the other social channels. But really, this is a product company. LinkedIn's biggest and what it's most known for is recruiting. So the big tool that it has, the recruiter tool, is to help, right, recruiters find great talent. There's also a marketing product, which is all the advertising that we're starting to see. So now LinkedIn marketing and advertising has become huge, 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 experiencing like double-digit growth the last several years. And some of the best results people are finding in terms of their paid marketing efforts in terms of conversion, whatever, is on LinkedIn more so than they're seeing on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Of course, that depends on, what size business you are and what you're trying to do. And then you also have LinkedIn Learning, which is about educating. So there's tons of courses you can take. And then there's LinkedIn Sales, which is the sales navigator tool, which we absolutely love because this is a CRM and this is a way to identify your audience and then actually go after that audience in a super strategic way. It's the only kind of platform out there like that. So we really think about LinkedIn as a major asset in our marketing and sales tools shed, right? So not just to get content out there, but to actually use that content to grow visibility and draw conversions through the conversations we're creating in the direct messaging. So, Krista, who's your ideal audience?
750,000 to probably about a $5 million business, small team looking to scale, but things are very complex and too much is dependent on the business owner.
So, are they in a certain industry, or you see at least a few industries maybe that they tend to be?
Yeah, it varies, but mostly they are service-based businesses, coaches and consultants.
Okay. Coaches, professional, all those are different industries that you can segment on LinkedIn. You can see employee, the business size. So you said small businesses that like maybe 1 to 50 or something like that. You can segment like specifically to find those. You can segment on geography. You can segment on keywords used. No other platform can you actually start to really niche down to this audience and then say, I'm actually going to create conversations with these folks, not spam. And this is what we do at Standout Authority. We create conversations that create opportunities. We're not creating leads, which is a people have really gotten into this notion of selling. And in relationship marketing and in the human era, we have to move away from selling to connecting, to really providing value and creating conversation and leading with that so that when they think they need our services, they think of us first. And I've had that happen, Krista, so many times just by putting great content out there, by being friendly, by commenting back, by educating, inspiring, by connecting with people and saying, hey, thank you for engaging with my post. Great to connect. Would love to know what had you, engage. By doing these really soft, beautiful touches, I've had people that turn into clients without me even asking, right? They're just witnessing what great content looks like. They're witnessing what conversation and human connection looks like. And then they're like, oh, I want to work with you, hands down.
Yeah, and your approach is honestly the main reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast, aside from you being so lovely when we got to spend time together. But I just really appreciate that so much because I see so many people, and especially clients, that'll come to me after they've worked with somebody that does like the hard selling to people in the DMs and they use Navigator. I feel like instead of for good, it's kind of like, who are the people that we can go pitch?
Yeah.
And it's so ick. I don't like that approach. I hate when people message me that way on the tool. Immediately, if you ever send me a message like that, we will no longer be connected. Just so you know, um, because immediately I don't reply. I just disconnect from the person instantly. Um, and I find there's so many shady tactics that are out there, and I just really like the very human centered approach that you take and that very connection building approach that you take. So, if somebody today maybe is using LinkedIn, but they're not really using it to build those connections or to start having those conversations with people, how would you recommend they approach getting started with that?
Yeah. So when we teach and when we put the people through our programs, we have kind of three phases. There's three pieces of this puzzle to be a standout authority. The first piece is really defining who you are and building your brand, becoming from basically unknown to known, right? So that starts with what we were talking about a little bit before about, right? Your message, we have a whole process, and then your LinkedIn profile. Your LinkedIn profile is so critical, Krista, because if you start to produce content and start to drive engagement through the messaging without having your profile in great shape, you're not going to look trustworthy or credible. And that's very important on the platform. So that LinkedIn profile, we have a very, very in-depth walkthrough of that when we're teaching folks of what it takes to have a standout profile. But make sure that your headline and your profile photo, your cover image, your experience and your about and all the things are in good shape before you start producing mounds of content and driving engagement with your audience. Okay. The next part is getting attention. How do you get attention? And for you to get attention is about content, right? So this is where you are producing content a few times a week. There's different ways in which you can produce content. You can use graphics, you can do carousels, you can do docs, you can go live. There are newsletters now with LinkedIn. There's a whole piece of this because there's a whole creator mode. But that content helps people get familiar with you, right? Grows your visibility and gets people to your profile. Because what you want to happen is to grow your visibility. So a great profile will help you with search. So one thing I haven't mentioned, Krista, in all of this is that LinkedIn is a search tool. It's 100% optimized for SEO, which means your profile, your articles, your posts now are actually indexed on the biggest search tool out there, Google. So we have clients that will write a blog on their own website, won't get any traction, but then they put that article on LinkedIn and they'll see it show up first on the SERP on Google. So we're not just that's why LinkedIn is such an intelligent tool, because what you're putting out there has major SEO benefit without you really having to do anything because LinkedIn is highly optimized. Okay, so that's really getting your attention, growing your visibility. And then we're looking for micro commitments, the third part. Now, the micro commitments is who really defining who that audience is, kind of what I was starting to ask you, Krista. I highly, highly recommend people get LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's about $100 a month to help you define that audience, create lists, and then actually go after those folks. You don't have to. There's a decent search, even if you have a, premium level, but try to pay for something on LinkedIn so you get better access. And we implement our engagement engine, which our engagement engine is about looking for triggers. So we're looking, did people view our profile? Did they engage with our post? Are we connected to somebody similar? We have multiple different triggers, right? They're an audience that we defined, and we first appreciate them. Thank you for stopping by my profile. Really appreciate that. Love to know what made you stop by, right? So we say thank you, which nobody does. Then we endorse people. We'll endorse people. So we love using the endorsements because it's a way of saying like, hey, it's kind of like a way of like, remember like waving, which kind of can still do on Facebook and stuff, but we like to endorse people. And then from there, we ask a question. We'll ask them a question to create that conversation. We let them respond. And then we usually will provide an opportunity to connect with us, whether this is based off of your marketing goals, right? What are you trying to create in that conversation? Sometimes we're inviting people to our event. We have a big event next week where we have hundreds of people coming. We want to drive people there. If you can do so, these are all little, right? We define our brand, we get attention, we get these micro commitments. And when you're doing all that, the engine starts really revving and it's going. And what will happen is you start to see visibility, and then most importantly, you'll start to see real opportunities come through in that direct messaging. And it's just incredible the things that we've seen. We've seen clients through events make up, getting 5-6 figure deals. We've seen incredible because great content, great visibility, and they're driving that engagement in real human conversations through the messaging. And that is how you become a standout authority.
I love it. So tell us more about your work. Tell us what you're excited about that's coming up, and tell us where people can find you.
Yeah. Well, this is exactly what I'm really excited about. Krista, we are very fortunate to work with incredible high powered executives and business owners. And but we know we can do more, right? We know that there are small businesses, there are working professionals, solopreneurs that need the support to become a standout authority. And so we are working on a 2-month program. So it'll be a complete accelerated program to go through what I just talked about. How do you define your brand? How do you get attention? How do you get these micro commitments? Basically what we do for our clients. But instead of doing it for them, teaching them how to do it for themselves with our support. So I'm really excited about that as a great way for us to scale, as a way for us to broaden our community. And that's like our big baby for the new year, as well as, we have a great partnership with Blue Jeans by Verizon. And so that's a wonderful partnership just to talk, going back to like branding and influence, right? And what can happen when you're putting yourself out there. We actually have a branded partnership with Blue Jeans by Verizon. And so they're partnering with us on a few different events. So I'm really excited about that, Krista. And I'm really excited to, hopefully meet some of these folks that are listening. Would love for them to reach out to me on LinkedIn with a personalized invite. That's another quick tip, Krista, which you were kind of saying, like, don't do like the, hey, Rachel B. Yeah. Like, don't send me those messages, but I love the message that's, hey, listen to your podcast with Krista. I learned this. Like, that's the best right way of creating a conversation. So very excited about all of it.
Excellent. Now tell people where they can find you other than LinkedIn, and where they can find out more about Standout Authority.
Yeah, well, just go to standoutauthority.com. We're constantly updating information on there. So that would be my go-to place. We have our community that's also kind of hyperlinked on there, as well as events that are coming on. And then I'm basically the Rachel B. Lee on every platform: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I just started to post some stuff. So like, it would be nice of you to follow me, but this is me kind of just testing things out, mostly on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Also, all of them are the Rachel B. Lee.
Excellent. Yeah, I don't think I have TikTok in my future, but we'll see. It evolves.
It's one of those, to your point, right, where it's like right now I'm just repurposing. So if I'm getting a good reel, I take out the metadata and put it on TikTok just to like see what's happening. But I do not have a TikTok strategy by any means.
I love it. All right, so I have one final question for you, and this is the question I ask all guests, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say. And that is, how do you work smarter, not harder, and keep things lean in your business?
Ooh. Oh my gosh. I think what I have been doing to work smarter, not harder, and we didn't go into my backstory a lot, but I'm like a pretty new business owner, entrepreneur. I'm only like a year and a half basically a year and a half into this. So I have learned a lot about this because I feel like I was working really hard. Not that I'm not now, but one of the ways that I work smarter is really finding the right people to do the work that is taking energy away from me. And so I've become much more aware, Krista, of when my energy is being drained. For instance, copywriting all day, writing copy emails. This is like, I'm good at it, but I'm not great. And it's such an energy taker. So hiring a really great copywriter, and even if that is more expensive, right? The energy it can save for me to work on the business, not in the business, is worth everything. So I think being clear on the energy drivers and derailers, and then outsourcing, hiring great people to do what they do best, is the only way to be a successful business.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So, for all of you who are thinking about, should I make that next hire I was thinking about? The answer is yes.
Yes. Especially if you're like dying, like, oh my God, something is just really taking the energy. That's like the big, but it's so hard when you're a small business and you're, being smart with your money and where do you put it? So that piece of like, where is my energy really being taken away? Like that's the first one that I invest in, versus like some things where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I don't love it. For instance, like TikTok posting. I'd love to have somebody do all that, but I'm not hiring for that right now.
No, but if you maintain it, I bet you probably will. So.
Oh, yeah, like anything great social media, at the end of the day, you need to outsource.
I agree fully. And I'm going to give a shameless plug for Simplify to Scale Ops Academy for any of you who need help with hiring. It's one of our core pillars, my strategy, planning, systems, and team. So come on down.
Yes. Go to Krista.
Anyway, thank you so much. So much value in this episode. I love your take on leveraging LinkedIn, and it's not the tactics, it's truly the strategy in relation to the brand and the goals and the objectives that you have, which is just so smart in the way to really truly leverage a platform. So thank you for taking the time and sharing all of your brilliance with us. Everyone, I hope you loved this episode. We'll see you again next week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. I hope you got a lot of value and actionable insights from today's show, and would love if you take a moment to leave us a review. If you have any questions on today's episode or on how to lean out your business, join us over in our private Facebook community, where every week we do live training and Q&A, and I'd love to have you be part of the conversation. Head to leanoutmethod.com/group to join us. And before you go, be sure to subscribe to the show so you're the first to know when we release a new episode. We'll see you next week.